Welcome everybody. This is Mystic Muse Metaphysical Chat. We're so glad everybody could join us today. We're live here in the great shadow of Sedona, Arizona, also known as the Verde Valley. So glad everybody could join you. I'm David Shepherd Love, and we're going to have a great show coming up here.
Hi everyone, I'm Deborah Christie Love, and again live at Mystic Muse here in Camp Verde.
So this is our weekly show. We have a variety of different topics that we like to talk about, all centered around metaphysics, but more than that is self-growth. How can you yourself become more enlightened, more connected to spirit, more just free in general, more loving. And this show is driven by your questions, your comments, your just whatever you got going on. We're also both psychics, so if you do have any psychic questions, this is also your opportunity to you can ask live. We'd be glad to, if you type something in our comment box, glad to work with that. We'll be giving our energy card here in a little while to get the show running, and we'll just keep waiting for our first guest to show up. I haven't seen anybody that's quite popped up there yet, but you never know with Facebook. They can have have a dozen people on there. You never know it.
Already it shows up later sometimes. Anyway, it's been a busy week, and so much going on in the world, so much going on everywhere. Energies are kind of off the chart. The Schumann resonance, I've seen some charts and they've just been crazy. So much transmuting of negative energy, so much new energy coming in, numbers like 62 and very high numbers. So a lot of positive energy going on right now and high vibing with the earth and with the energy coming into the earth.
One of the most interesting things that I found for this week, really starting about the 11th, well today is the 11th, maybe it did start today, I don't know, but there's a great positive momentum that's taking place right now. I know like it seems like a lot of us have been real tortured over the last several months since the fake flu arrived on Earth, kind of our wake-up call that there's some higher powers that would love to shove us down into their idea of what freedom looks like. But I see such a shift going on right now where people are starting to wake up now. They're starting to find themselves. They're getting out. The masks are coming down, and I don't just mean those paper masks or whatever you guys are using, but the mask of our true inner self is starting to get discovered now, so that there's just such an awakening going on. A sense of destiny and mission is really being just laid out right before us now, and just in parallel dimensions. It's just I've never seen anything like this, and really we're just at the beginning. We're expecting a number of months. It's going to just keep increasing and increasing.
Yeah, there's so much being revealed now, things coming out, and there's still things, as David said, trying to keep us down, but I find there's such a huge energy right now that it never lasts very long. It's stronger than ever, that I get a calmness or a groundedness pulling me out of it very quickly, and it's feeling better all the time to me. There's still people that are just waking up to some of these things, and it's a little scary, but there's more people than ever around to help you and to use as an example than ever. I think, back in the day when we felt kind of lonely back, 20 years ago, but it's better now. I think if you're just starting to really focus on your spirituality and your inner true path, I think there's more help available to you now than there ever has been.
Well, and that's a lot of the prophecy. I always think of Buckminster Fuller, who's a master geometrician, and much like the person that brought the rainbow equation into being. And he made a prophecy a long time ago, is when things start getting smaller on Earth, meaning the electronics and so forth, then there would be such a revealment of information. It seems like the smaller everything gets, the bigger our view gets, because the computer age, mobile phones, instant text messaging, video messaging now. People pick up the phone now, and all of a sudden, all the way around the world, a person is right there in their screen, or any information. You just got to know how to find it. Of course, the censors are out trying to keep us from finding it, so that's actually getting worse. But you know, they're doing their best to hang on to the last threads of what they can, but not going to be too long, because at this age of communication, the veil lifting up is super strong right now, and we're just going to the momentum's just going to keep building. There's no way that we can put the genie back in the bottle. Billions of people are waking up around the earth, and you know, now's our time to shine.
It is, definitely. So what do you think we should do first? It's time for our card. I didn't even get the deck out today yet.
Oh, you're not quite ready?
I
You
can
jump
grab
into
that.
something else if you'd like.
I will just grab that deck behind you there.
Get through.
I can.
We've got a little for our regular viewers here. You may notice a little bit different setup here. We had some strange things. We get guidance from spirits that caused us to realize that we could. It's complicated, but something had to break for us to remind us that we can make things better. And of course, that's a big metaphor here on Earth. It seems like something has to break for us to be reminded that we can be doing this so much better. So, yeah, my little metaphor. I love things, you know, anything and everything. I'm gonna tie it in, because that's how spirit works.
Well, today's deck is the Earth Wisdom deck.
Yeah, hold that up close so they can see that.
Yeah, it's a really pretty deck, and it's kind of a Celtic deck with beautiful green colors, beautiful images. So our intention for every viewer, that this will be relevant for the coming week energetically for you. And let's see what we get here. And,
oh, that must be the card. It just flew out.
And that's what happens to me. They fly out. And we have 22, which is one of your favorite numbers, and it is relief. So that's a wonderful card, relief. So I'll let you go first with that.
Okay, well, I think I've already given that reading. How I swing. The relief is just, as I was saying, this week, it just seems like in the last few days, there's been a breaking point that is allowing this old stagnant energy, this fear energy, this depressive energy to kind of start going away now. We're actually getting, we're getting a literal breath of fresh air. That little mask hint there, and I'm not a masker, sorry. And but what this really means is that the light is starting to get more powerful now here on Earth. We're actually able to feel some of that energy that is very cohesive and very empowering. The information is starting to get out there now as the veil begins to lift. And when I talk about the veil lifting, that's our psychic sense. That's our connection into 5D. So all of these awarenesses are just bombarding the earth right now. So we really are getting relief here on Earth. So I think this card today, number 22, Master Number, is a perfect card for today.
It is absolutely perfect, and there's a lot of clouds in the background there, but the light is coming through. The light is starting to shine through those clouds. You have to show that a little
bit better for people.
You can see the light rays coming down out of those clouds there, and that's exactly what's happening. Now, there are a lot of fires burning right now, and we have to realize that Mother Earth is doing a huge cleansing right now, and she knows what she's doing. I know, yes, it's destructive, and there's going to be a lot of disruption for people, and that's sad, but it is really forced change that needs to happen, and I keep getting the word cleansing with a lot of these fires. But there is relief in sight, and they won't last forever. But with situations going on for people's lives, their spirituality is coming to the forefront now. And this lady in the picture is also wearing the purple color again, so a huge tie into spirituality and listening to that intuition and guidance that we all have within us, and that will just make your day flow and go smoother than ever before.
Very good. So that's our energy reading card for this week, which we try to do a different one, find out where we're being led to as a group collective, and certainly for anybody that joins into our show or replays on this is into the hundreds, so very exciting to see so many people follow it where they might not get the live show, which is just a little tiny window. They have all week or even beyond that to go to our page on Facebook, which is Mystic Muse, Mystic Muse, simple, and tune into that. All of our shows are there, and a lot of other great information as well.
So another thing with the energy I wanted to mention, it's been so high in the last, I'm going to say 4 days or 5 days, that a lot of people have experienced a lot of vertigo or dizziness, dizzy spells, lightheaded spells, and back in 2010 I was hit rather severely with that, and I've noticed it in the last few days amping up quite a bit, especially through the night. If I wake up during the night or early in the morning when I first wake up, it can be quite noticeable, not debilitating, but noticeable. So I know that the energies, that's a sure sign that things are changing, the energies are pushing us, and it even means that a lot of people have made choices, and those choices have propelled us onto different timelines. Every day we wake up, every decision we make puts us on a different timeline. And a sure sign of this is when you get some of these symptoms. And one of the big symptoms for me is, I know there's big changes when I get that dizzy, lightheaded, vertigo type feeling, even in small bouts like I've been getting through the night.
Well, that's very true, and I'm always I'm always looking at the cure of what's going on. I mean, there's so much news that I haven't watched state news in like 20 years, but still the news, all these negative and really devastating type of stories are appearing, and why wouldn't it be? This is the time of revealing, the time that all the ugliness and dark gets revealed. But what we need to do, the cure to this vertigo, I won't say cure, but it's a little aid for you, a little healing for you, is to keep your meditations up, keep your breathing up, find nice quiet spots in nature, find peace within, continue to breathe, throw the TV out the window. If you think you can't have one without watching state news, we got a TV, we do fine, but we're on Netflix or we're at other places that already have programs that they ain't going to bombard us with a lot of this negative, out and out lies if they're turning the news. Well, Netflix isn't crap anymore either. I mean, so much of the major media, if not all of the major media, is owned by the Illuminati now. So, buyer beware, and this is why we got to go within. Turn your boxes off, turn your news feeds off, and just find that quiet space. Pick a time every day. For me, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Spend an hour, 10 minutes if that's all you can spare. But I recommend, as the great teachers have said, if you're 30 years old, meditate 30 minutes. Older like me, 60 some, and actually 62, soon to be 63. So I'm going to be going on 63 minutes. I try to keep that a minimum. I rarely make it, but I get pretty close every day. So and with the children, maybe they're 7. Well, 7 minutes is going to change your whole life if you're doing that every day.
That's true. I find even 15 minutes is really good for me sometimes. And the other thing I want to mention is it's not to fight those things. I get those little lightheaded spells, and I don't fight them. I actually look at them as a good thing. It's a good sign for me that that good energy is coming in, and it doesn't last, and I know it doesn't last. And to me, it's just a good sign that, things are amping up again, and I kind of find it exciting that I can be sensitive enough to feel these changes and connected to the earth enough to feel when the resonance is high, or when the sunspots are happening and the solar flares. I know it by how I feel. I don't even have to look it up on a website anywhere.
Oh, so you got that
So,
instant tuning there.
I do.
So not quite the way I'd like to see it, because sometimes you get so dizzy you can't even get out of bed.
Not
so.
anymore. No, I don't get it that severe, but it's been noticeable the last few days. So as I said, I see it as a good sign. It's a good sign that the new energies have ramped up and they're coming in, and change is happening quicker than ever. I was shown years ago asking about ascension, and shown how it was this gradual uphill battle for so long. Then we would get to this point where I think we're at now, which it's the snowball effect, where the snowball is now at the top of the hill, it's been pushed over the edge, and it's picking up speed and it's growing exponentially, and that's where we're at, and that's why that relief card is here, because you can see the changes happening quicker and quicker as we keep going on.
Yeah, so I encourage for me, like if I miss a meditation, especially if I miss 2 meditations, and then all of a sudden my whole world it gets really funky and even gray and angry, and so I need to go to the well and fill my tanks, my internal cosmic energy. And that works really well for me. I just think that everybody, especially the light workers, people that are striving right now, really everybody, should do some type of practice, spiritual connection, spread the love, or whatever that looks like to you, to keep that synergy up, because it's really intense right now. But we're being bombarded with cosmic energy in this part of the solar system right now as the photon belt sweeps through, and if we don't take safeguards to do something a little different, or if we're doing the right thing, like meditating, eating right, and so forth, to just stay on that path, and maybe even intensify it. Maybe you need a fast or whatever spiritual direction. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, but I highly encourage all of you to go to the well of your inner being, and keep that refreshed at this time, because if you don't, it can drive people crazy. I mean, suicides are up majorly. There's more suicides this year in the first month of fake flu than there was for the whole year, the previous year. So we can't be too careful with this craziness, and so find the light and start dwelling in it.
It doesn't have to be hard either. It can be simple. Go out in nature, go for a walk, sit by trees, sit by water, and just absorb some of that nature energy, and you will get a whole new lease on life just being there for half an hour. So, yeah. Did you want to do one of your cards today?
Oh, okay.
I think it's
I don't have too many words today. Let's see, the chatty one today. Let's see what. I'm just so excited about these shows. Last week, was it last week? We did that show. And speaking of meltdowns, it was so intense, and then I got down back to the real world, and anyway, I got through it, but it's not easy. You dwell in this high energy of prophecy and all these earth changes.
Well, just stay in it. You don't need to get out of it.
The veil, well, that's a beautiful thing, and this is why I keep my meditations up. And actually, that was a good example. I had missed 2 days of meditation, and here comes the meltdown. What a surprise! I just need to be there all the time. This card looks familiar. We've actually done this on this show. I don't know.
No way! Out of that whole pile of cards.
Yeah, we've got 150 cards here, and I picked one that we had before, but
It can't be.
I guess.
Well, it's a long one, so.
Yeah, I'll just go with the flow, because clearly universe wants me to do this. Do you want to read that, or you want me to?
Prophecies were matching present day happenings with thus made changes. No, I'm not sure. Not familiar with some of that.
Well, I didn't ask you to answer the question, just
No.
read it. Authors of the Living Bible knew prophecies were matching present day happenings and thus made changes. Sound familiar? Fox News? No. Fox News. Anyway, silly. Anyway, a lot of changes are going on, and the bigger the media, the more the changes. And what could be a bigger media than the so-called Holy Bible that has reached millions, now billions of people to try to propagate the message of divine light and love, but they didn't want it that way. They wanted to have the message of control and confusion, and of course that keeps their coffers full. And because anytime you got fear, fake flu, then that's what's going to change people's hearts and minds. So what this card is about, it's just from my series from the 1990 class called Rainbow Bridge, is that in the book of Daniel, they actually say in Daniel 12:6, they say, how long will it be to the end of these wonders? Well, beautiful statement. That Daniel was the prophet to refer to directly from Jesus, if you study into the Bible. And he said, look to Daniel in the latter days, because he has the answers. Well, I think somebody looked into Daniel a little bit too deeply, because later versions of Daniel's prophecies, they changed that word. He said, how long will it be to the end of these terrors? Okay.
I was going to say, should there be an end to wonders? There actually shouldn't be.
No. Well, and they meant, it just depends on how you word it. And of course, the Hebrew linguists are saying, well, it needs to be this way because that's really what Daniel was saying. Well, when I read wonders and I read terrors, I don't think I have to go too far to realize that somebody has tried to divert the fake news out there, the good news in this case, and try to scare a lot of people. And again, what this is all about is love and connection. It's not about terrorizing people or fear.
Well, change, it brings change, and change is scary to some people. So, terrors and wonders, I think depending on what it's affecting in your life at the moment, you can see it either way. They're two sides of the same coin in a lot of ways. But once we get through whatever way it shows up, the change always brings benefit. It always brings good things. It brings lessons. It brings revelation. It brings knowledge and wisdom. So anything that brings that in the long run has to be good, and it has to be a wonder. So.
Well, and if you study, it's all good. At the end of the day, even if it's a bad thing, we're called to get lessons from that and get wisdom from that. So this is what higher consciousness does. It takes even the darkest situation and brings light to it, and then the love and connection is restored there. I also comment on the other part of this card, which doesn't have to go too far into the Bible, the Christian Bible, as I like to call it, because I think it's a great book, but you do have to read it with prudence and care. In the first book, and I'm going to first chapter, first verses of that book, and I'm going to paraphrase here. It talks about, and God moved upon the face of the waters, and then he goes on. He does his creation, says, "Let there be light," and so forth. Well, later when that was written, King James and some of these the later versions of King James Version, they decided, instead of saying God moved upon the face of waters, he said God brooded upon the waters. It might even say, if my memory is correct, it brooded upon the dark masses. Let's turn up the fear even more. So, movement of consciousness, the creation of consciousness, that's what the first verses is about. God moving upon the water, which is consciousness, and then thereby that creation happens. Not brooding, not being afraid, not putting his dark energy on there. That's a fear inflection. So if you don't have to go any further than the first 15 words of the Bible to realize that some changes have been made in these this amazing book of what could be an amazing book, look no further than you know, a being that moves upon waters as opposed to brooding over the waters. Just a world of difference there. Okay, your turn.
Okay. Well, I'd like to say, you know, if people have any questions out there about near-death experiences or past lives, those are things that I've written about in my book. And there's always other ways to look at things and new ways to see things. I belong to a lot of near-death experience groups on Facebook, and actually just this morning there was some questions about, you know, some people seeming to say that, you know, everything's so good that there is no darkness, there is no, everything is just light, and it seems to some people that spirituality is making them just ignore people's bad situations that they are going through. And we have to realize that we do all create our own reality, and we're in control of our own reality. Doesn't mean we don't see everyone else experiencing their reality, and when you're having a great day doesn't mean everyone's having a great day. And we have the choice whether to help someone out when we can or not help them. You know, and really those people that are having the bad day, maybe that's the whole point. Maybe they're there to see if people will step up and help them out if they can. So everything has a purpose, and just because your reality doesn't match with someone else's doesn't mean it's not real to them. But the people that are having a better day, maybe they're here to be the example and teach others how to create the reality and have it turn out into a happier space for them. So I don't think there's really an ignoring, but there is an allowing going on, where we have to allow everyone to experience what they came to experience the, what do you call it, the wheel of nature, or the motion that's been set from their own actions. And we have to allow that. Yes, we can help when we can, but we can't experience it for them, we can't do it for them. And we can just kind of be that light in their darkness and hopefully help guide them out of it. So there's not really an ignoring or a denial that that isn't happening. We're well aware of what we see others going through, and we just have to use our own discernment about what we can do about it, what we can't do about it, and what we need to do about it. So, you know, it's all kind of our own discernment at that time. I don't know if you have any comments.
Well, we do the best we can. The story that actually occurred to me is, you know, we had this really great concert here at the Ramada, which is just you know, part of the complex that we're in here. You know, great musicians, and you know, it's open air event, and you know, I can have this fetish. Well, how many people are in mask? You know, everywhere I go, I'm a non-masker, to say the least, and so I was just curious, and there was a percentage, you know, thank God it was much less than ever. I think they got up to 4 or 5 people out of maybe the 100 that was there. And but I'm looking at these people, and it's just like that. I think, as you were saying, you just got to let people be where they're at. They're on their own level of progression. If they feel safe with the mask, then you know, that brings them comfort. You know, so I'm not in judgment of these people. That's the path that they're on. Whatever you know, floats your boat, or brings you spirituality, or just makes you feel safe, you know, it is okay. I mean, we're getting into more problems. Is, you know, is there judgment in the fighting and bickering because somebody ain't living the same spiritual direction or safety direction that we are? So you know, these people seem like nice people. They had the mask, maybe a little harder to tell since they were covering up their face, but. Anyway, I think, you know, it's okay. I have a lot of friends, like really close friends that I've known, and they've rather surprised me. Great light workers, and they're masking up. But you know, if that makes them feel safe and comfortable, if they believe that this is you know, going to make the world a better place for themselves and others, then you know, more power to them. Is what I say. We just got to let people live and let live.
That's true. I read a cute, I guess it was a meme the other day, and I thought it was very cute, and it was all about the diversity. It was, allow people to praise Jesus, and go to their gun clubs if that's what they want to do, and wish your neighbors, the two men next door, a happy honeymoon, and just get on with your life and allow people to be, and stop the judgment with it all. And that's where we get into trouble. That's why thou shalt not judge. It's actually a commandment, and it's for very good reason, because if we don't judge things, then there's no reason to even need forgiveness. People say, there's karma. Yeah, energy balances itself, and it will do that even without judgment. Energy will balance itself. The yin and the yang is there, and it will balance itself out. It doesn't really need our judgment in order to do that. On the other side, I've experienced where we only judge ourselves, and it's only where there is unforgiveness of ourselves that we will maybe accept karma for something we didn't think we did quite perfectly in that last life or 10 lifetimes ago. And that's only because we haven't actually forgiven ourselves. And to make it even easier, it would be if we don't even judge ourselves, there's nothing to forgive. And there goes the whole idea of, this wheel that we're on. We can get ourselves off that wheel by letting it all go, allowing everything, realizing that, as the masters say, life just simply is. And whatever happens is meant to happen, and we complicate everything. We know it's meant to happen simply because it happened. If it wasn't meant to, it couldn't. So, we live in a realm of infinite possibilities, and we have to realize that gives us as many options for creating wonderful things as it does for negative things, and we are the ones at center. We are the ones at choice at all times. Take responsibility.
Welcome, Eric. One of the first, we've had several people pop in and out here, but it's the first face that I recognize, and actually your name appeared that Eric is watching, so welcome. Eric's been one of our longtime viewers. We've done quite a few of these shows now. I think we're getting into the teens, and we've just started. And but what I like about you, Eric, is you often have some really good comments or questions for us. So feel free to type away. This is a comment-driven show, live presentation, and if we really love your comments. Anybody has any comments, either with the live or afterwards, we work really hard to get to everybody's comments the best we can. Any psychic questions that you may have, or just anything that's going on in your life, we'd be glad to see if we can get metaphysical with it for you.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Is it time for, I think, something out of your book, your Rainbow Connection book?
I guess so. Sure, we don't pick this up too much, but we should. World's premier Rainbowology book, The Rainbow Connection, subtitle Gen Z and the Universal Language of Light. So this is a lifelong collection of information that I was blessed to be a part of, starting way back in my early 20s, and the legacy of the rainbow continues to grow and bring connection and revelation to the earth at large. It's such an amazing understanding of what the rainbow has been and what it can be for the evolution of the earth. So we'll go ahead and pick something out here. Let me see, I turn to
Nature things.
to chapter 7, page 1. So speaking of rainbows, one light, 7 colors, and I'm not sure what I'll say with this, but I'm just going to read a little excerpt out of this and see what happens. This chapter is called The Nature of Things, and it says, the secrets of the universe can be learned through the simple counting of our fingers. Within the universal structure, there are patterns contained in the movements and the creation of nature. all about we see connections to these patterns. We see the universal circular vortex in our DNA structure, weather phenomena, and galaxy systems. We see hexagonal matrix of space, and with many things, from honeycombs to snowflakes, planets rotate elliptically around their central stars while spinning upon their axes. Within the universe, there are no accidents, only movement to the great grand scheme of things. Nature is our greatest example of this patternization. Philosophers and scientists alike have studied and documented these patterns for thousands of years and hope to gain a blueprint of the universe. These patterns are repeatable throughout all universal structures and mathematics, and the language they can be spoken in. One more sentence. Complex studies in mathematical equations have been drawn to understand the matrix of time, space, and how it relates to manifest reality. However, the most profound structural arrangements of nature patterns are found in the simplest mathematical expressions. Hey, just a little insight of what you will find in the book called The Rainbow Connection. Not quite the Kermit Frog song that you may have been connecting, but Kermit did say that great prophecy, and he was an amazing prophet, that someday we'll find the rainbow connection. So I think that all of those things, the science behind this, how everything works together as one, the universal vortexes, the DNA structures, and everything, the build-to-mean ratio, all working together, not just in our own bodies, but everywhere, wherever we go.
Well, it works a lot with fractals and how everything is kind of made of the same thing, and it's so interesting to see it scientifically explained. Your early NDE experience has had an effect on your life.
You'll want to say that loud so everybody can see it. Eric has chimed in with a question. I know he likes NDE experiences, so that's your area of expertise.
So my near-death experience was when I was almost 4 years old, and I had my tonsils out. And he's asking if my life has taken a different path. If it didn't happen, do you feel blessed that you have this experience? Ways that I do feel blessed having experienced this. There's more.
No, that's it.
Okay. I wondered about that myself, and I really feel that I'm not 100% sure if it was planned or not, but as with everything in life that does happen, the best use is made out of that. And I do remember there was a couple instances during my NDE even where certain beings came near me and kind of said or thought in their mind, because I heard them express something like, "What is she doing here?" Kind of like, "Aren't you on Earth?" or why are you here?" kind of thing. Which I didn't really understand at the time. So it may have been a bit of a surprise that, even that young, when I had the opportunity to leave my body, I was out of there. I went from a scary situation to, I remembered this way better place and I went there. And so maybe it was a little bit of a surprise that I showed up. And but the problem was, or not the problem, but the situation was that I got to have a great experience there, be reminded of so many things that would be helpful on my chosen path that I believe was chosen long before I even came here. And it has made that path easier. It has helped me remember. It has strengthened my connection to Source, and that's all a good thing. So it turned out to be all a good thing. The only thing I can say is that had its drawback was that when I remembered the entire experience at around 38 to 40, I did have a huge depression because they kind of erased it from my memory for several years because I had to grow up. and that kept me busy enough. But to go through growing up and having to remember everything that's so great and wonderful there, it makes it very hard to be here. And for a time, I felt very depressed and very like they tricked me into coming back, because they kind of, it had to be my choice, yet they showed me my mother crying over my hospital bed, and then I felt all her grief, and I thought, well, why is she grieving? I'm right here. And they said, well, if you stay, she would have to live without you for the rest of her life, and she would be grieving. And I realized in that second I could not do that to her, and I had to go back. And so here I am. And so years later, when it all was revealed to me, my mom had passed and she was on the other side, and I'm thinking, and here I am stuck here, came back for you, and you're gone, and you're there, and I'm here. We had reverse roles at that point. And so I had a big bout of depression that lasted several months. But other than that, I think it has made my path easier, and I am very grateful that I got that opportunity to be reassured and to know the things I know and remember the things I remember. So I'm grateful.
Well, when I see Eric saying, having had this experience, it is a reality, not a belief, and I think that's mostly what India people take with them, is that once you get over there, you realize that 5D is not just a pie in the sky type of phenomena. It's actually an energy place, and most people would say that quite correctly that they're more alive over there than they were when they were living here in the 3D. That's how real and vibrant the energy is. It's far beyond anything that we can imagine here. So it's a very real and profound experience, and that's why it is hard to come back to this 3D plane after having that experience. But so important, for especially for light workers and people that need to find comfort, even if they just keep the story to themselves, they get a sense of comfort that there's no fear in death anymore, that they can start living their life more fully, that there is a grander scheme to things than just a simple life and then you're gone. That it can be really magnificent, and 5D is a lot closer than we think. It really dwells around us all the time. It's not a place that we go, but it's a place that we are. It's just a step up. So
it definitely is tuning into a new vibration, really.
So through meditation, through applied consciousness, we can start living a more 5D life, which is what we're when we cross over or have an NDE experience, this is the life that's just all around us. But then we don't really have the 3D life. So I always encourage people to blend these two realities, the 3D, the 5D, and bring them together. That's what the Great Prophecies is about. It is the actual kingdom of heaven, as it's called. It descends down into earth, or
on earth as it is in heaven.
We're ascending up into heaven. What these two energy fields are merging right now. That's what the great veil means. Is that the veil that has separated the 5D reality is now being lifted. Our eyes are being opened, and we're starting to dwell in this this paradigm, this new heaven reality here on earth. It's just going to lead to a quantum shift in consciousness very quickly, I might add.
I think if anything can come from near-death experiences, it's really that taking away of that fear of death, because that is what really stops people from living. They're so afraid of dying that they don't live. They just put too much energy into that. And really, it's the funniest thing when you look at it from the other side, because you realize there is no such thing as death. That is like the one thing that's really not even possible, and yet that's our biggest fear. It's quite laughable. And the other thing is that I think we, as near-death experiencers, realize we have to stand on our own. Whether anyone believes you or not, we know it's real. you know, and there's no convincing someone that's had this experience that, oh, you know, your brain did this and that when you were sleeping or medicated or whatever that is. It doesn't matter. It just simply doesn't matter, and there's no one that can tell you what your experience is, because you're the only one that can know that and do it. But there's so many people that have had this experience, and it really was like an awakening. It was really waking up and feeling that in that instant that, oh, this is the real me. That other me, that was not near as real as this reality is. So many people have commented about that same effect to them.
Well, and this is where we're all going, and that's why you know, I know that the born again Christian comes to mind again. You know, they've been living their life at one certain level, and all of a sudden their eyes are open. The metaphors or actual reality. They got baptized, and then they came out and they began to see life from new eyes. Well, these are all metaphors of the spiritual reality. Once we begin to seek a certain path, a spiritual path, our eyes can open, and we begin to get in touch more with this 5D reality that really is just as close as our next breath. But to get there, we got to open our eyes, our consciousness, our soul to this reality, and then it can become very real. And like it or not, on the same subject, our eyes are going to get opened anyway. This is what is going to happen on Earth. The veil is physically lifting. The great photon belt is shifting across here. The great light is emanating upon the Earth right now. So whether people are ready to open up their eyes, all of this information, all of this awareness of 5D reality is just going to be interjected on us very strongly.
And that's why we see, as we've commented earlier in the show, that there is a lot of darkness being uncovered, and that's because there's so much light being shone on the Earth right now. You know how you take a flashlight into that dark corner, suddenly you see a lot more than you did when the whole room was half dark. So in order to cleanse things out, it has to have the light shone on it first. And that's what we're going through now. So it's kind of an upheaval, but it's all for the better. It's finally doing the clean sweep that was needed for, I don't know, centuries, I believe, millennia. But it's finally happening, and it's all good. It's all for the greater good.
For sure. Eric just came up with a good suggestion. Maybe we could even do it now. Some Friday, could we give a virtual tour of our shop here at Mystic Muse? I'd be willing to hold the camera and follow you around if you want to do that. We'll take about 5 minutes.
Okay.
We'll do a little tour of our service room and even get over to our retail space. And
Sure.
it'll be fun. And I'll let you be I'll be the camera guy, and you can be the host behind it all. Okay? So thank you for the suggestion. And I don't know if I can actually see this enough to do this, so I'm going to just guess that
So
this is all working. You want to do this room first, or are we heading out to the other one?
Let's do this room first. We're here.
Okay.
So let's come in from where we come in the door here.
Just to make sure I got you in the camera. I can't see
so
you.
This is our door. We come in here. We have our tea and coffee set up here. We have a screen that we can use for privacy if we have a Reiki treatment going on. This is the corner where we have our little table for readings here set up. One of the chairs missing for our show here. So we have a little background. We have our cards and books available here. Our treatment table, which has got some books on it at the moment, as you can see that. So, and then my desk over here, which is just a little section of the room. And then across the hall, we'll come on over here. And so this is our little shop here. We have many different things going on here. We have many hanging items, spinners, chimes, dream catchers, jewelry here, a lot of handmade crystals, crystal necklaces, salt lamps, paintings, our collection of books, David's books, my book and CD. We have used books on this shelf here. Then over here, we have a really nice collection of oracle cards, tarot cards, wisdom cards. They've been one of our best sellers, actually. If you can get a good look at those. We have brand new books here. Of course, all of metaphysical nature. We have local authors featured on one shelf here. And we hope to get in people soon to be doing talk about their books and get some local authors in and support them by doing a book signing and having guests come out and listen to them. We have, again, candle holders, dream catchers, pendulum necklaces, beaded bracelets, all made out of crystals. We even have some seashells here, sand dollars. Crystals over here. We have some more crystal necklaces, some bigger crystals, some natural formed crystals. Yeah, so down here we have some journals. We have a handmade jewelry box. This is our kind of an art corner here. We have a painting, we have some smaller art, we have a clock that glows in the dark. Some of my smaller paintings, candle holders, and then we have our beautiful desk here that David actually revamped and made into our sales counter. Put this wonderful shelf in the bottom here, where again we have more jewelry. We have this really cool thing called a Star Master that projects stars and moons onto your ceiling. Really great for a children's room. So yeah, this is pretty much it. We have more art on the walls, all for sale, all my paintings, original paintings. And that's my new one down there that I just did last week. So you can get a close-up of that one.
All of 40 minutes, but...
At a workshop, that was fun.
Yeah.
And this is our shelf here that has a lot of knickknacks. Has some carvings, some native carvings, Kokopelli. A big seller around here is this Kokopelli image, which is very big with the native community around here in Arizona. We have some inspirational plaques, a whole new section of beautiful incense and incense holders. I have an incense fountain, which is very cool. It makes the smoke from the incense go down like a waterfall, which is very cool. And I guess we have some chakra beads here. And yeah, that's about it. It's a very small shop, but gets people in the door to see what else we do here. And yeah, we're very happy and just need more people to come and venture over here and see what we're up to. So I hope you enjoyed this little tour. This is our window here for the other room, and it has our sun and moon and star on it. So I guess that's it for the tour.
You can reposition that.
Yeah, there we go.
Very close to where we were.
So, yeah, I know, we just need to have some more people coming in.
It looked like outside.
Oh, outside.
Well, that's us. Go to the website at MysticMuseOnline.com, and I think here's some outside pictures of there.
We have a nice flashing open sign in the window and a nice screen, what do you call it, a screen print on one of the windows as well. So, yeah, it's all good. And we're having a cool spell today. You might notice I'm in a sweater, which I might be taking off any minute, but our high today is 89 degrees, which is about 20 degrees cooler than last week at this time.
Quite 20, but
well,
quite there, almost there.
Yeah, it was about 105 last week, so 15
minutes.
degrees cooler than last week at this time.
So if you do come for those that are locals around here, if you come to Camp Verde, we're right here on Main Street, at a big bright yellow building called Main Street Studios. So if you look to that, it's just as you enter town from at least one direction, and so you know, we're actually renting 2 of the rooms here in the back of that, so that you know, I felt very fortunate that we got these rooms. Everything is guided for us, and to be here with all these other artists. These are all amazing craftsmen and artists that work here, and now we actually have a hairdresser, so she's doing hair art, you might say.
Exactly.
Some amazing energy here. So this whole place is buzzing. Our main goal is being so close to Sedona. We wanted to bring some new age energy, some psychic energy, healing energy into this region. I think it's been a little underappreciated for the beauty of this area. So our goal is to bring some more light into this area. We're always guided, and here we are in Main Street Studios in Camp Verde in the shadow of Sedona. So talk about guidance.
And we have exciting news now that David is licensed now to do weddings here in Arizona, and of course did a lot of them back in Barrie area in Ontario, and starting up with a first wedding I think next month coming up. So
Yep.
Exciting news here with that new adventure.
Yeah, that's exciting. I was doing 30-40 weddings a year up in Ontario, and of course now we're located 2,500 miles away from there in the Great Desert Southwest. So I've just become licensed again for this region, and we'll be connecting people on this sacred path called marriage here.
And that's in Sedona as well, so that's interesting. Always look forward to a reason to go up there and soak in some of that energy up there. So yeah, so David is an ordained minister with the Metaphysical Ministries, and it's funny, it's like full circle, because you got ordained in Canada with the branch in Canada that is actually affiliated with here in Sedona with the University of Metaphysics. So it's kind of like we did this little loop here.
Yeah, it just always seems to be connected. You know, the group I was with up in Canada actually got the what we call the religion of metaphysics officially on the doctrine. What do you call it? And so that was the first time it was in Ontario as a religion. And I'm not even sure Arizona has taken that step. They have a different way of handling those things. It's actually not that hard to become a licensed minister here, as I was relieved to hear, because it was quite a process up in Ontario. So nice to have some legal representation. I've always actually been a minister since my early 20s on various capacities, and have held a number of licenses for that. So it's just nice to continue that energy down here in the shadow of Sedona.
Yeah, I think Rita worked for about 7 or 8 years in Ontario to get metaphysics listed and recognized by the Ontario government as an actual religion. So very good.
That's reading Rita Browning, Reverend Rita Browning up there. There are over 200 metaphysical ministers ordained now in Ontario, and the number just keeps on growing. So we're really excited for the work that she brought, and that actually is a sister organization of the University of Metaphysics, which has more metaphysical ministers than anybody in the whole world. So they're just doing an amazing job, and they're just located 30 minutes from us, that campus. So really exciting to continue to bring this energy full circle.
And now your first wedding in Sedona.
And that's what's happening. A beautiful spot up there. They're going to get a lot more up there. That's such an amazing visual display there, and the energy is just through the roof with all the vortexes there. I believe that we're actually down to our last minute, so any credits that we want to do right now, now's the time before we sign off for this week.
Oh, well, I don't know.
You want me to do the credits?
Sure.
Stay on top of this. You know, I have 3 different books out right now that are published. That my book that I like the most, and the most important one is The Rainbow Connection. But I also have another book, Wizard of Oz, a children's book, about 40 pages, and I have another book, Love Illuminations, that I actually wrote back in my 20s when I was living in the ashram. So you can go on to Amazon, search out the name of David Shepard Love, and that's going to bring you to all the books that I've written. Deborah has a few books. You want to talk about your works?
Well, this is my book out. It is a 50-year journey of my near-death experience and my life up until a couple of years ago, and really about the path that we all have a map within, and how that has played out in my life, because I could tune into that when I needed to, and felt the guidance be there for me. But it's something we can all do. I'm not special. And my CD collection of songs I was guided and channeled, given by Spirit, and
you got to show the back of that. That's the best part.
there's the back of it there. The 8 songs listed, and they all are, I would say, they're kind of spiritual songs. They all have really nice messages for your life that people can relate to. And I actually did an interview that should be coming up on, I guess you can find it on iTunes. It's on a channel or a show called Fit for Joy, and that should be coming out any time now. So I'm excited because I know there's an audience of about 10,000 people. So really hoping that my book will get a boost from that show coming out on the air soon.
Yep, so a lot of exciting things to happen. You can follow us on MysticMuseOnline.com. That will tell you of all the different things that we're doing here at this metaphysical sanctuary in the desert. And so please tune into that, MysticMuseOnline.com, or also RainbowEquation.com if you want to get delve deep into the mathematics and prophecy of the rainbow, or also my other site, rainbow.guru, it has tons of information about all the stuff that I'm into as well. So I think that's about it. Thank you for...
I have one more. I have
one more announcement?
Yeah,
Okay.
one more. I do have a blog, and you can read about some of the stories that didn't even make it into my book, and they're on my blog called DeborahChristieLove.wordpress.com, and you can find the Mystic Muse blog there.
Perfect. So we try to stay busy. This is our passion here. So thank you everybody for being here. We'll look for you in the replays, and also join us next week, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Is that what we're in here?
Yeah, well, it'll show up in their time.
Yeah, well, it'll show up in your time at 1 o'clock. And so thank you everybody for being here. Have a good week.
Take care.